Hi, I'm Jen, and today's video is about being frugal, but maybe a little too frugal. I like to save money. Everybody likes to save money. I've cut coupons before. I remember spending Wednesday nights as a teenager and younger than teenager, cutting coupons at the kitchen table or the kitchen counter because the Penny Saver newspaper came out on Wednesdays. My little brother, my mom, and myself, we would cut out all of the coupons that we thought that we would use this week. And I think that we probably ended up cutting maybe 10 or 12 coupons. And my mom would actually maybe use 2 of them, maybe. It's not that she didn't want to use the coupons, it's just that she didn't have one shopping day. Both she and my dad worked, and so they would each stop and grab something on the way home. They would do a little bit of grocery shopping sort of every night. And neither one of them was carrying the coupons. We had a coupon drawer for that. And also, they didn't buy stuff just because we had a coupon for it. I don't know how many chocolate cakes my brother and I would have gotten if my parents had used all the coupons we cut out for those frozen chocolate cakes. We loved those, but that was not an every week purchase. So I think coupons are best used all at once in one big grocery haul rather than, as my family did it, just somebody, not the same person every time, would stop and grab a few things every day of the week. I mean, sometimes on Saturdays we would go grocery shopping and get a larger amount of groceries, but usually we forgot to bring the coupons with us. But I'm only basing this on watching those television programs like the Extreme Couponers. Extreme Couponers? Is that the name of the show? I think it is. Those people, they are a little bit scary. Canada does not have that kind of couponing culture. I mean, there's no store coupons that double the value of the coupons that you cut out of a flyer and manufacturer coupons that combine with another coupon. I mean, I don't believe there's any instance of a Canadian person walking into a grocery store and coming out with a cartload of groceries that they spent zero money on. But that happens in this US television show. It's something to watch. And those people on that show, they spend hours, days and hours. It's like someone's full-time job is just tracking down coupons and cutting them out and organizing them in a binder. And I saw one show, a woman was dumpster diving for more thrown away flyers that had coupons that she wanted in them. And they buy stuff that they don't need. And yes, they donate a lot of it, the stuff that they don't need, to charities, but just the amount of things that they purchase or that they get for free that they don't need, that they won't use, that they store in their storage areas at home, they're very proud of. That's just, it seems a little extreme. Extreme couponing, that's the name of the show. Oh my gosh. And so I think maybe that might be a little beyond frugal. And I'm not sure if it's even, I don't know if that counts as frugal at all because of the time and the energy that goes into doing that kind of couponing. I mean, yes, I will use a coupon or two to save some money on a product or an item that I want and that I will be using. But I think there's a happy medium between the kind of couponing that I do, which is one every now and then, and someone who is truly saving some money by using coupons wisely, and then the other people who are really going off the deep end with the coupons, in my opinion. I don't think that that's being frugal. I think that's being obsessed, or maybe even using couponing as a hobby, perhaps. Anyhow, I think that couponing perhaps is not a great example of being frugal. Another thing that gets passed off as being frugal, but I think is turning into more of a hobby, is making everything from scratch. Now, I like to cook, and I'm a good cook. I'm a decent cook. And generally speaking, I make my meals at home. I go out sometimes, but I make almost everything that I eat at home. But do I make everything from scratch? No. Like bread, for instance. I've documented a few times on my videos that I love a really good rustic loaf, a bakery loaf. And two of these lovelies. They're rosemary and olive rustic sourdough loaves. That was Fry's Bakery. But would I make it? No. I will definitely buy bakery bread. By the time I actually got good enough for my bread to be able to compete with bread like I get at Fry's Bakery, I'm just giving them free advertising. I'm not associated with them at all. By the time my bread got good enough that it could compete with Fry's, I think I would be in the poorhouse. The ingredients in scratch baking and cooking tend to be on the high end. And the time and effort to make my imposter Fry's bread would be incredibly frustrating. And I know for a fact that my imposter bread would not taste the same as Fry's bread, even if I bought all of the ingredients from Fry's themselves. Plus, I don't have any equipment to make bread like that or pasta. I don't have any equipment to make homemade scratch pasta. I have a very small kitchen and I have no room for all of the equipment and paraphernalia that you would need in order to make quite a few things from scratch. I don't think that making everything from scratch is very economical or frugal unless you live in the country with a very large family, so you have economies of scale, and you have equipment and skills and cheap ingredients. City dwellers, solo people especially, but even couples and maybe families are not going to save money in the long run by making everything from scratch. Store-bought is more convenient and it's way cheaper. Another thing that may seem like you're being frugal, but you're really not being frugal, is buying inexpensive shoes and clothing. Cheaper items often break more frequently or wear out quickly, and you have to replace them more often. You may think you're saving money by buying a cheap knockoff, but you're not. I mentioned this in another video as well. Buy quality, not quantity. Buy the best that you can afford. Another one is watering down your soap. I'll water down the last of my hair conditioner to get the last of it out. But it's watery, and I have to use more of the watery stuff to get the job done. Diluting liquid soap is the same thing. You add water to something, it's watered down, so you end up using more. Plus, it's less effective. I mean, you want your stuff to be clean, right? Whether it's clothes, dishes, or your hands. Watering down liquid soap is not going to save you any money. Another thing that feels like it's frugal, but it's not really frugal, is keeping broken items to fix later. I think this mindset comes from my parents' generation or even my grandparents' generation, when things could actually be fixed. When you could take your toaster into a shop and have it repaired. These days, holding on to broken items just leads to clutter. Most things nowadays are built to last 5 years or less, intentionally. I guess they don't want you passing down your refrigerator to your kids when you die. Techie things especially. It costs about as much to repair a smart TV as it costs to buy a new one. I know this personally. My 50-inch smart TV started going into a reboot loop, and I couldn't get it to stop. The Samsung people told me that they could fix it, but they would have to replace the motherboard. And I would have to bring it in to their chosen repair point, which was, of course, somewhere in Victoria, which is an hour away from me. And I would have to leave it with them for a week. And it would cost me $600. I bought a new 60-inch television for $800 and recycled the 50-inch. Phones have new models out almost every 2 years, and the older ones stop being supported for bugs with fixes after about 7 years. I have at this point pretty much given up trying to make older things last. When it breaks, I don't hem and haw about it. I just replace it with a new one. I don't have the time or the patience to try and find someone who is willing to repair it at a decent price. Here's one I bet other people have done as well, but I have tried washing and reusing Ziploc bags, plastic bags. They're not supposed to be reusable. You're supposed to throw them out after one use, but it just seems like such a waste to throw out that little plastic bag. You should just wash it out and you can use it again, right? The thing is, I could never get them all the way clean, and it's unsanitary to use them for a second time. They're meant to be single use. All it's done is make me buy more actual reusable storage containers. But in the end, I still use the disposable bags just because they're so convenient, and I throw them out. It's better to invest in reusable alternatives that are actually designed for long-term use. I can't even wrap my head around reusing disposable razors or disposable gloves or disposable contacts. I think that's just plain dangerous, and they're already cheap as it is. It's not worth the risk. Doing DIY, do-it-yourself projects around the house, around the garden, around the yard, if you don't have the proper skills. I think there's a fine balance between taking on a complex DIY project without the right tools, the equipment, the skills that you need, and just being afraid of doing something that you've never done before. Do-it-yourself, DIY, is something that solo people just cannot escape. We're the only ones here. We end up doing a whole bunch of projects on our own. But not knowing when you're beat and doing projects DIY just to save money when you don't have the proper skills or the proper equipment, that can turn out to be very costly. Yes, there's YouTube University, and I hope that everyone is using that. YouTube is a wealth of information on how to do everything and anything. But again, there does come a point where you're in over your head, and you need to know when that is. Because if you fail at DIY, then that can mean having to hire a professional to come in and fix what you've done, which can be more expensive than hiring out to have it done in the first place. Plus, you could even hurt yourself DIYing. It's not worth it. And this one's just for the introverts out there, or maybe the socially anxious as well. Avoiding social activities to save money. Look, I'm an introvert. I could happily get by for weeks on end without seeing or speaking to another person. I could, for real. That's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because I very rarely get lonely, but it's a curse because in order to participate in and contribute to a civilized society and foster and maintain helpful and necessary social connections, I have to socialize, and so do you. Turning down social activities to save money can cost you more than the few bucks that you save. Number one, you can harm relationships with the people who care about you. And number two, if you're not on the very far end of the introvert spectrum, you can screw up your mental health too. Everybody needs a little bit of social interaction. So if you're looking for ways to save money, look for low-cost alternatives to spend time with family and friends. Go out for a walk or a picnic, host a potluck party, hit the local art gallery on their free day, go to the library for a free craft night or story time. But don't avoid social activities altogether. There's lots of free stuff to do. I'm sure that there are more, and I'm sure also that you will tell me what they are. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, a like, a comment, and please subscribe. Thanks for watching.